Hasn't been much in the way of protests since just after the mistrial was declared, but police are prepared and city leaders are encouraging peaceful demonstrations.
That as a city, we will make sure that people who are feeling a variety of emotions, and in my opinion justifiably so, have a right to express themselves peacefully.
There are also calls tonight for unity.
I'll also challenge every race to come together with their counterparts. If you are Caucasian, gather with your black friends. If you are African American, gather with your white friends. If you're interracial, gather with your family members and begin to talk about healing our city. When it comes to race relations, it has to start, the conversations have to start at home. And this is the time, this is the season to make sure that we start echoing those messages of peace and love in our city.
July 19th, 2015. That's the day all this began. Ray Tenzing pulled Sam DuBose over in Mount Auburn. He didn't have his front license plate, and this is what happened next.
Why don't you have your license on you?
I just don't know. I'm sorry, sir. I'm just going to go in the house.
Okay. Where do you stay at? Down here?
Right around the corner.
Okay. Well, until I can figure out if you have a license or not, go ahead and take your seatbelt off for me.
I didn't even do nothing.
Go ahead and take your seatbelt off. Stop! Stop!
10 days later, the murder indictment. And then he went on trial last October, which ended in a hung jury 2 weeks later. Shortly after that, Joe Dieter said that he would try Tenzing again on the same charges. After Judge Megan Shanahan recused herself and 2 other judges had to do the same, Judge Leslie Ghiz took over.
And that's how we got to tonight. The biggest question now is, where does the case go from here? As you heard, the DuBose family wants a third trial. Local 12's Angela Ingram continues our team coverage with what the next move might be. Angela.
Well, Rob, the prosecutor could go back to a grand jury and seek yet a third trial, but seasoned attorneys say if he does, he has a lot of things to consider, including exactly how to charge Ray Tenzing. Even in the rain and wind, a crowd gathered outside of the Hamilton County Courthouse, showing they feel justice has been denied to the family of Sam DuBose again.
We had an opportunity to deliver justice. I don't know how in the world 6 jurors on either count could have come up with anything different than guilty.
The question that many want answered is, what will the prosecutor do next? Defense lawyer Jack Porter has been a police officer and a prosecutor. He believes Dieters will likely speak to the jurors to understand their thinking.
Find out from those jurors exactly what it was that caused them to either vote one way or the other.
Joe Dieters could also decide not to bring the case again. It would be a move that would not sit well with protesters.
What is open in Hamilton County, state of Ohio, and across America is injustice against black people.
He also has the option of going to another grand jury and asking for different charges. In both the first and second trials, the jury could only consider murder or voluntary manslaughter.
I think if the jury had been given either what we call felony murder, which is committing a murder while committing a felonious assault, or reckless homicide, they would have had some really stronger options to evaluate to determine whether or not Ray Tenzing was guilty of what he was accused of.
Lawyers say the prosecutor's office will likely take a long look at what went wrong in both trials.
It's always difficult to get one mistrial, but to have 2 mistrials, it really makes you stop and totally analyze the way you've prosecuted the case.
And Hal Aaronstein says if Joe Dieters does try to get a third trial, the defense could file a motion to dismiss the case, saying that you would not get a different result than you got in the first 2 trials. And in theory, a judge could throw out or dismiss the charges. Reporting live tonight from Mount Adams, Angela Ingram, Local 12 News. Rob, back to you.
Angela, thanks very much. Whatever does happen, we of course will let you know. To find all of our coverage related to the Ray Tenzing trial, head to local12.com.